would you like to offer me vacation package where I can put my toes into the sand and drink margaritas on the beach? Would you like to send me the vacation package with all-inclusive drinks and hot dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Morning guys, happy Monday. One thing I want to go over today is we get called all the time. People say, my scooter's not starting, it's making a weird sound. It's, they're calling to ask us help on fixing a bike. So if you're gonna call and do that, you need to do a few things first to help us out or to help anybody else. On Facebook, if you're gonna call on Facebook or post on Facebook and say, hey, bike's not running, what's wrong? There's literally nothing anybody can tell you that's going to fix your bike without you offering them some information first. So when somebody calls us and says, hey, I got a scooter, it doesn't run right, and I shouldn't have to fight to get information out of that person. If you provide us or the forum or Facebook more information, you're going to get better answers. So say you've got a bike like this little FC50 here, and you call me up, say it doesn't start. I'm going to say, is it your bike? How long have you had it for? Did it run before? What did you change before it failed? And if they say, hey, you know what, I just bought it used, they said it ran, but it doesn't run, you need to go through the basic steps, okay? If you get a bike not running, you get a bike that has problems, you need to check for spark, okay? And if you, depending on the bike that you have, it's very easy to check for spark. You simply pull off the spark plug cap, which on this bike is up here in the front, this cap here. Okay, you check for spark. It's all about eliminating problems, process of elimination, and you work your way down the line. Check for spark. If you have a spark, and spark, all you have to do is, there's a few different ways to do it. There are some tools. You can always just take a screwdriver, shove it in the end, and hold, basically, or take a spark plug, take it out, and put the spark plug against something grounded. Make sure it's grounded, whether it be the engine case or the frame. Take the spark plug out, hold the end of the spark plug up against something metallic, not a painted surface, okay? You're gonna see spark when you crank it over. If you don't have a spark, then you need to look into your grounds, your ignition switch, and your charging system slash ignition system, coil, all that good stuff. So you don't have a spark, don't go down you don't need to continue the rest of this stuff, okay? You need to resolve the spark issue first, roll down the line. If you have spark, you need to see if you have fuel. And depending on the bike, if you have a fuel injected bike or carb bike, this is carb, you've got your carburetor here. If you bought a bike that's been sitting or you didn't see run or hasn't been running to your knowledge, before you do anything, honestly, take the carb off, clean it. So what we do is we take the whole carb apart, top to bottom, and we sit it in an ultrasonic cleaner with a solution that sits in there and breaks everything apart. And then we also physically clean it with jet brushes, okay? Clean your carburetor. Whether you have fuel or not, you need to clean it anyways because it's been sitting for a while. Guaranteed it's junked up, there's junk in it, dirt, sand, whatever. I've got a Honda Gyro I bought used, and I've cleaned the carb 4 times because the junk in the tank keeps making it. And I've cleaned the tank, I've cleaned the petcock, and it keeps making its way in the carb over and over and over and over and keeps plugging it up. So that thing is in the Connex right now because I'm tired of working on it.
I would like to reward you as you have been making your payments on time for the past 6 months or more.
Ooh, that's great.
We are excited to inform you that you may qualify for 0 to 6% interest on your credit card debt.
Thank you for responding. Card services, how are you doing today?
Good.
I believe that you are responding for the lower on your existing credit card. Is that correct?
I am calling to offer you a good interest rate on your card because you have made your payments on time and you are a great customer today. What credit card do you hold the highest value on? Your Visa, MasterCard, or Discovery?
Discovery.
Okay, your Discovery card. What we can do today to you, sir, is we will give you new card and also vacation to spa package in Mexico where you can put your feet in the water and dip your toes in the sand and take a drink of the finest cerveza. Do you have any interest in that package, sir, with your credit card offer today? Do you have a loved one you want to take on this package? Oh, this is getting fun. Oh, hopefully nobody's getting offended with any of this stuff. Clean your carburetor, okay? If you have fuel, and the way to check for fuel, one, your carburetor at the bottom, there's typically a screw. Not all of them are like that, okay? But you typically have a You can't see on this bike, but there's a screw on the bottom of all of your float bowl, okay? Open that screw up after you've been kicking it or doing the electric start, and the fuel is gonna drain out of the bottom. So that tells you have fuel in your carburetor. So there's that guy right there. That's your screw for the drain, okay? You open that up, it's gonna pour out of that line in the bottom. That's how you drain your carburetor, so that you have fuel coming in here. If you don't have fuel getting in your carb, check to make sure your bike has gas, okay? That's important. If it has fuel, you're gonna check your vacuum diaphragm, which on this bike, I don't even know if this thing has one. It's on the other side, I believe. Let's see. Yeah. So this has an on-off. It looks like a reserve, but a lot of them, this one has a bowl, which is pretty cool. You take the bowl off and clean it out. But you're gonna have something that looks like this on the bottom of your tank, if your tank is above your motor, okay? And you're gonna make sure that works. You suck on the vacuum. There's a vacuum line and a fuel line. You suck on the vacuum line, or get a friend to do it for you, and you'll have fuel come out of the other side on your fuel line. What that does is when your motor's running, creates vacuum, it opens that diaphragm and allows fuel to come down to the carburetor, okay? So that's something you need to check as well. So let's say you've got fuel. You've got gas pouring in to you can tell your spark plug's wet, you have spark, like what's going on, okay? Compression is what you need to check. And compression is going to consist of your seals. And again, we're going over 2 strokes here. Theory is all going to be the same for the most part on the 4-stroke. But you've got seals up here, your piston, your rings, your head gasket. If any of those are worn out, you're not going to have compression to create enough pressure to get combustion with spark and fuel and air. Spark, fuel, and air are the 3 things you need to make a bike run. So if it doesn't run, you're missing one of them. So let's say you get a gauge on it. You check compression. Your compression's 85, 90 PSI. It's too low. You need to rebuild, or you need to figure out what's going on because it's way too low. So again, what will cause low compression in 2-stroke is a spark plug, like a loose spark plug will cause it. Your rings, if your rings are shot, worn out, a head gasket can cause low compression. So those are things that are going to give you low compression on a bike that will not allow fuel to ignite with the air. So if your compression is, above 90, 99, 100 and up, you're good. It's the higher the better to a certain point, but typically most bikes you're going to see 115 to 135 kind of as most common. If you're down there really, really low, around, below 105, 102, somewhere in there, that's getting pretty low. It's pretty worn out. It should still run, but it's gonna be very hard to get started typically. So let's say you've got good compression, you've got fuel coming down, you've got a good spark plug, you have good spark, and it still won't start, it still won't run. The next thing you need to check is your timing, okay? And if this is a bike that hasn't been messed with, it's likely not going to be an issue. But if you buy some of these bikes that people have built and messed around with, check your ignition timing. Make sure that you have a on your crank on the other side. I'll show you. You've got a flywheel key that basically, I'll dull it down a little bit. You have a flywheel key like so. Okay, that's the side that your stator's on. Okay, your stator and your flywheel. You have a key right there. That key basically locates that flywheel and tells it when to provide spark for your cylinder. You can have bright spark, you can have tons of compression, and you can have nice clean fuel, but if your timing is off, it's telling it to spark at the wrong time. So if that flywheel key is missing, it's sheared off, or somebody put the wrong flywheel on it, the timing could be off and your bike will not run no matter what you do because it's telling it to spark at the wrong time. So those are the main things, okay? Make sure you have fresh fuel, fresh plug, but I'll also say that that's kind of the scenario with if you buy a used bike, if they say it was running and they say it needs a carb clean, don't believe any of that because people tell you whatever they want to get you to buy their bike to get their problem into your hands and out of theirs. So kind of gone over the basics on just a process of elimination. Same thing goes for any bike, whether you've got one of these bikes over here, Vespa, older Honda, Metropolitan, whatever. Theory is going to be the same. You just have to work your way down the line, okay? Your bike, let's say your bike runs, doesn't shift or it's boggy or whatever. First thing you need to do is make sure everything's right. Make sure your air box is on, sealed up tight. Make sure you have fresh fuel, a good spark plug. Go over all the things we already went through, okay? And then you can work your way through the rest of the bike. It shakes, it does this, it does that, okay? It's probably your transmission, but moral of the story here is if you're going to call us and ask us questions, we're happy to help you diagnose your bike, or you want to post up on YouTube, with questions about your bike, it's very difficult for us to help you if we don't have this information, and it's very hard for us to spend time asking you, have you done this? Have you checked this? Have you checked this? Have you done this? If you can do that part first, it's really going to help out the community as far as helping you get your bike dialed. Say, hey, my bike doesn't start, it's got fresh fuel, the petcock's working, the plug has spark, it has 125 pounds compression. Okay, you're gonna need some tools to be able to do this, of course. But if you provide that stuff, then people will be more willing to help, and they're gonna be more likely to provide you with good information because you're providing them with more information about the issue, okay? If you have a bike, that's your bike, and you've been running it for a while, and you did some work on it, and then you say, hey, it doesn't ship, it doesn't do this, doesn't do that. 99.9% of the time, if your bike acts differently after you work on it, the issue is directly related with the work you just did. So if you put a clutch in and go, what the heck, what's going on, my bike's broken, it's doing this. Well, it's probably because the clutch you put in was wrong, incorrect, not right, needs to be tuned, or there's an issue with the installation in general. So if you have a bike and you're doing work on it and it immediately starts running incorrectly or wrong or poor, it's 99% of the time it's related to the work that you did. So when it comes to asking questions on bikes, guys, whether it's me, Facebook, or just for your own knowledge, and you're trying to ask shops or ask people what's going on, you got to provide them with the information, compression, fuel, and do a little bit of homework yourself before asking questions, because you're going to get really frustrated with people not wanting to help or not providing you with the proper answers because you're not providing them with enough information. It's going to be different. Again, if you have a Grom, you have a fuel injected bike, your process of checking things is going to be completely different. Most of the time you're not going to go through carb cleans, of course, on a fuel injected bike, and typically you don't have fuel delivery issues. On that, you can have electronic problems. It's a whole nother ball game. But in general, you guys are buying old Sprees or Vinos or Zumas or whatever. They're very simple to eat. They're simple. They're easy to work on, but those are things you need to check, okay? Make sure you have good, clean fuel. Don't run crappy fuel. If it's old gas or they said, I just put new gas in it, that's not the case. Get rid of all of it, 100%. Don't add to the top of it. You add to the top of the fuel. It's never going to run right because you're still going to have crummy fuel in your bike. Don't add to the fuel. Get rid of it all. Put in a fresh spark plug. First thing I do when I get a bike, okay, honestly, most of the time you buy a Zuma or Vino or whatever from a barn or an Elite, they always run. Typically you need a carb clean, fresh plug, fresh fuel, and they fire right up. So hopefully this helps you guys when you're asking for help, whether it be from us, on a forum, on Facebook. We can't really get you the right information unless you provide us with the right information about what you guys have already done. So thank you for watching. If you guys have any more questions, let us know. But this video is just kind of for your guys' knowledge as far as what to check for on a bike. Whether you buy it, use on Craigslist, whether it's your bike, friend's bike, or whatever, and you're looking for help, you need to take these steps first in order to provide the information for a shop or Facebook or a forum to help you. So have a good day, ride safe. If you're riding, it's kind of rainy here. It's Monday, but we're going to start working on bikes because we're full again. Oh, this is pretty sweet here too. Tinfoil mod going on here. If you guys want that tinfoil kit, we could hook you up. We hand make them in-house. Not really, I don't know where that came from, but it's pretty funny. But anyways, see you guys later.